Sam Darnold is going to make a lot of money. He's earned it. He's worked really, really hard all season long. O'Connell really figured out how to get him out of his shell. This has been a problem really since he stepped on an NFL football field. This guy who came from USC was expected to be a star quarterback. He was a star quarterback over there at the University of South California, and he just didn't develop. He obviously was drafted by the New York Jets as the third pick in the first round. The Jets couldn't develop him. Adam Gase couldn't develop him. Then the Jets decided to part ways with him as they brought in a new GM and a new coach in Robert Saleh. They got a second and a fourth for him. He goes to the Panthers. He was there for 2 years? Couldn't develop over there with all the different coaches that they had over there. And then was pretty much thrown away to the San Francisco 49ers. Built a confidence level over there with Kyle Shanahan, and then played 1 year with the Minnesota Vikings, and really in 1 year developed and had the numbers that we expected Sam Darnold to have after 3 or 4 years playing with the team that drafted him, the New York Jets. But right now, when you look at the position the Minnesota Vikings are in, they could draft Sam Darnold, but why would they? They drafted J.J. McCarthy, a year ago? He was out for the season, had season-ending injury. He obviously sat out. This is good for the quarterback because he played 4 years in college, right? It was 4 years or 3 years?
4 years.
4 years in college. And every single quarterback that we've seen that plays 3 or more years of college football and gets a little bit of time on the bench, that steps on a football field, an NFL football field, those are the ones that develop much faster than the guys that play 2 years in college football. And then because they're superstars, they have a big name, and they had 1 or 2 good years in college football, they step on an NFL football field and they're a bust. Sam Darnold, all the way through, was a bust. But for some reason, Kyle Shanahan saw something in him, built him over the last couple of months of the season last year, and then he was signed by the Minnesota Vikings. And with all the weapons they have, and Addison and Jefferson and obviously Hawkinson and all the weapons that they had, he really started to really figure things out. Everything slowed down in front of him. Sam, at the end of the season, even after the playoff game, he came out and said, this season has been an absolute blur. And he said, it's been fantastic. I learned so much from the players that I played for and the coaches that I learned from. And he said, I would love to come back here if they would have me. But here's the thing. When it comes to money and when it comes to the objective of playing NFL football, it's to make as much possible money as you possibly get. And Sam Darnold is a hot ticket right now. The hottest ticket right now going into the offseason. He was a top 5 quarterback in almost every single statistic. He did what you wanted a star quarterback, a franchise quarterback to do, was go out there, put up the numbers, and get his team in the playoffs. Did they fail to get out of the first round of the wild card game? Yes, they played a veteran Rams team, which Sean McVay and Stafford, guys that have won Super Bowls, that have gone to the promised land. It wasn't easy. But right now, if you look at the objective here, is to go out there and get the most money. Who's going to give him the most money? What team is willing to give Sam Darnold a 4-year contract? And there are 5 or 6 teams right now on my list that absolutely hit a home run if they do that. The problem right now is Sam Darnold willing to take less money and fight for that quarterback position with J.J. McCarthy? Or does he say, you know what, JJ's going to get the job no matter what because he's on a rookie contract and they believed in him when they drafted him and he won a national championship with Michigan. Maybe it's time for me to leave and go see what's out there and earn the right to make the money that I deserved all these years and never got a chance to prove it. I think right now, when you look at the picture and you look at the quarterbacks and the position that Sam Darnold's in, he could go one way, he can go the other. I think that if O'Connell comes to him and says, listen, I'm going to give you the money that you want. I'm going to give you 4 years, $160 million. I think he looks towards Minnesota and says, you know what, I have a better chance to succeed over here with the coaching staff over here than going to another organization and using me and throwing me to the dust. Look what right now, if you look at over there in Atlanta decided to bring in Kirk Cousins, gave him a long-term deal. What did they sign him for? 3-4 years. And then after 1 year and a half a season, they gave up on him. Yep. And then at the end of the season, they brought in Michael Penix. Michael Penix almost got him into the playoffs. And they said, you know what? We're getting rid of you. Does Sam Darnold want to go through that? Does he want to go through that, or does he trust that O'Connell's going to put him in the right position to win and give him the right chances to get that starting position and take it from J.J. McCarthy, and then they move on from J.J.? And he's the youngest quarterback ever drafted. We were speaking about it on Monday. The Jets drafted him at the age of 19. He was just turning 20 when he was drafted by the New York Jets. He turned 20 like a couple of days after he was drafted.
His birthday's June 5th.
Yeah, so he was practically 19 going to be 20 at the time that he was drafted. So if you look at it, and this is what I want to go back and look at what we've seen over the last couple of years, especially with quarterbacks. We saw what happened with Kirk Cousins. But again, J.J. McCarthy has been out a whole season. He barely stepped on a football field. How long is it going to take him to get back into football shape? That's where they have to look at it. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, it took him to the end of the season to really get back to that star quarterback or star passing quarterback that he's been over the years. For the first 7-8 games, he looked horrible. But if you look at his numbers at the end of the season, it was pretty damn good. And he ended the season pretty damn good. It took him a little while to get back from that injury. Now, this guy had surgery this year. I think it was on his knee, if I'm not mistaken. He had major surgery on his leg, and now he's coming back. Are you going to trust that J.J. McCarthy is just going to step on a football field and be the player that they thought he was going to be? Maybe they go into the season, they give Sam Darnold that extension, give him the 4-year deal, and if Sam Darnold wins the job, that's fine. You go to the season. If Sam Darnold puts up those numbers like he did last year, then next year you trade J.J. McCarthy